Lincoln Matt posted an update. Hi,
Hi,
this is Kim,
this is Andy.
and we're going to read the Urantia book to you. But first, we have 365 Days of Walking the Red Road by Terry Jean. And it's April Fool's Day. April Fools, we're really not going to read the Urantia book. April Fools! That's stupid, right?
The April 1st is the beginning of meteorological spring. The eastern journey of spring. Yellow is the color of Mother Earth's sunsets and the color of spring. The east is the direction of a new day, of new beginnings, and of first light. Spring is the perfect time to start new projects, raise your own vegetables and herbs, and to overcome challenges such as kicking bad habits.
Exactly. Okay. I'll do this one.
Okay.
Okay. So the direction is east. The season is spring. The color is yellow. Where's
Yellow.
your yellow?
I don't have my yellow on.
Okay. My heart is filled with joy when I see you here, as the brook fills with water when the snows melt in the spring, and I feel glad as the ponies are. I feel glad as the ponies are when fresh grass starts in the beginning of the new year. Yamparica Comanche, also known as 10 Bears.
Hmm.
Isn't that wonderful?
Mm-hmm.
When I see you here, I feel glad as the ponies are when the fresh grass starts in the beginning of the new year.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
That's so nice.
Good picture.
Okay, so this is April. What is the name of this moon? This month?
April, the Mohawk moon. The budding time.
Budding time. Onara Toka. Onara Toka.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What language is that? Mohawk? That must be Mohawk.
Mm-hmm. I would guess.
This is the Mohawk moon. Okay, so I'm going to read the Red Road Ethic. Fourth Red Road Ethic. Community Code of Conduct. Treat the guests in your home with much consideration. Serve them the best food. Give them the best bed. And treat them with respect. Honor the thoughts, wishes, and words of others. Never interrupt another or mock or mimic them. Allow each person the right to freedom of opinion. Respect that opinion. Never speak ill of others. As you travel along life's road, never harm anyone, nor cause anyone to feel sad. On the contrary, if at any time you can make a person happy, do so. Even as you desire good treatment, so render it. Render good treatment, and then it will be rendered unto you. That is the words of Handsome Lake, who was a Seneca, and he lived from 1735 to 1815. Okay, and then, Andy, you want to read these?
Naturally, the Indian has many noble qualities. He is the very embodiment of courage. Indeed, at times he seems insensible to fear. If he is cruel and revengeful, it is because he is outlawed and his companion is the wild beast. N.G. Taylor, U.S. Commissioner, 1868.
Aha, so, and N.G. Taylor, white guy, I think, right?
Mm-hmm.
No, what is that? No. No. Okay. Who is this person?
N.G. Taylor.
U.S. Commissioner. Nathaniel Green Taylor.
Mhm.
Oh, he was a representative from Tennessee and Commissioner of Indian Affairs. Okay, Nathaniel Green Taylor. Okay, yeah, white guy.
Mhm. Yep.
Okay, so he was in office in the mid 1800s.
Mhm.
So friend of the red man, more or less. Yeah.
And
Okay.
a native to know is Norval Morrisaw, Copper Thunderbird. Copper Thunderbird was born on March 14, 1932, on Sand Point, Ojibwa Reserve in Ontario. An accomplished artist, he founded an art school in Canada. The Woodland School has exhibited more than 40 one-man shows, many in France, received the prestigious Order of Canada Medal in 1978, and was elected to the Royal Canadian Academy of the Arts. In 1989, he became the only Canadian painter asked to exhibit in the Paris French Revolution bicentennial.
I'm looking at
Norval Morrisaw.
some of his things.
Hmm.
Really, really beautiful.
Mhm.
Look at that. Look at the brilliant colors in this.
Wow. Hmm. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Mhm.
Is he died in 2007. Copper Thunderbird.
Mhm.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. I'm going to put a link to his work. Look at, oh, this is
Beautiful.
some amazing stuff, you guys.
Mhm.
Okay, I hope you will look at this. I'm going to put a link to ArtNet here in my little streaming thing. Okay,
Mhm.
Norval Morrisaw.
Mhm.
Okay, really, really beautiful, colorful, vibrant images. Um, you know,
Mhm.
yeah.
Then we have Lao Tzu.
Yes. So we have Lao Tzu, The Tao Te Ching by Lao Tzu. Okay, translation by Ralph Allen Dale. Chapter 60, Our Future. Go ahead. Oh, let's look at the picture. Mountain. Mount Everest. Looks like maybe that's Everest. I don't know.
Our future. Govern a country like you would fry a small fish, with care, respect, and with the least interference. When the world is governed according to great integrity, evil will lose its power. Not only will evil lose its power, it will no longer even exist. When evil ceases to exist, neither will good exist. Without good and evil, we simply will live totally in our human natures. No one will compromise anyone else, because we will all be the inextricable parts of the great integrity. I like that.
Some people think that's a hard thing. Like if good doesn't exist, evil won't exist. But it's coming back to the center, to the
Mhm.
middle. And there's in all developmental paths, there's a plateau. So that's what we're trying to get to the next level where there will be peace. There doesn't need to be good and evil. There doesn't need to be a lot of judgment. There's people just living their lives in peace and harmony and just happiness. Then inevitably something comes to disrupt that. And then you have this split in this need to either advance or regress, depending on the circumstances. Um, Right. So that's where all that comes from. But our goal is always to kind of settle those waters, to bring peace. Then we've reached when we have that, then we've reached that plateau of the next development, right?
So we can't even talk about doing the right thing, because if there's a right thing, then apparently there's a wrong thing.
That's
So we just need to
right.
do the thing.
Just do the thing.
Mhm.
But there's abundance there. There's happiness and there's peace, right? It's only when there's this disruption, so something something comes and disrupts the waters,
Mhm.
then we have to make these discernments of whose lifestyle is better, what's more desirable, or what's, you know what I mean? Okay, but that's always, but you know, the world we live in now, it's like there's disruption after disruption after disruption after things, and everybody's like camping up into their little and fighting with other people and trying to prove that they know the best way, and you know,
Mhm.
but to let go of all that stuff, that's Tao,
Mhm.
and that's just to live in peace and harmony and just let those, to rise above those disruptions. Now if
Mhm.
everybody could learn to do that, okay, then there
Mhm.
wouldn't be all this need.
Right.
But you know, there's people at the top who are addicted to power,
Mhm.
and then they have these reasons to actually, if there's no disruptions down here in the among the people, they have to cause them just so that they can remain in power.
Mm.
Because if they, because that peace level means that those people have to lay aside their power and their influence and be just like everybody else.
Mhm.
Now that's, to me, that's a mark of a great leader. A great leader can do that,
Mhm.
like George Washington did that, right?
Mhm.
Okay, so that's extraordinary, because most of the time leaders, when we come to the peaceful state, when the war is over, when the disruption has gone by, they still want to hold on to their power. So
Mhm.
they have to invent the crisis so that they can hold on to their power.
Mhm.
See, and that's really a lot what we're dealing with, is a crisis of leadership among
Mm.
other things. This, like, but you know, we don't
Mhm.
need to go on to everything that's wrong with the world. You know, I could spend all day here, right? And then what would we really accomplish? We'd never go to do what we want, go to the what we want to do today, right?
Mhm.
Okay, but today is also April Fool's Day, and it's the beginning of a new moon. New moon means that da 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 da. What does that mean, Andy?
The I Ching.
Yeah, we have to do an I Ching reading. Okay, this is the one I like. Okay, so we're just going to take a second here to think about what do we need to build during this month, because now the new moon here, these next 2 weeks are being like, what are we going to create?
Mhm.
Okay, because this is our opportunity to put away old patterns of behavior that
Mhm.
we want to you know, we can make changes, and
Mhm.
we can see the results of those changes here in this
making
month.
changes.
We're making changes. We're making changes in our living situation and in
Mhm.
our moving stuff around and getting rid of stuff.
Mhm.
That's been going on. Okay. Okay, but the real question for the new moon is, what are we building there? What are we building now?
Building a life together.
We're building a life together.
Mhm.
We're building a YouTube channel. No, I don't know. Yeah, okay. Yeah, we're building a life together. So, what is the advice concerning that? Concerning how we go about um, um, building, bringing in new energy here.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay, so that's our reading. So we're gonna try to see here what is it going to tell us. Do you want to press? Do you want to do the honors? Do you want to press the button? You just press this one 6 times. You want to do it? Here you go, Andrew. Okay, we got hexagram 15. Okay, so let me copy this down quick. So this is the new moon. This is what day?
4/1.
4/1/22.
Mhm.
Okay, and we have hexagram number 15, which is modesty. Modesty. Okay, so here we've got, okay, on the top we have Kun, which is earth. Okay, then we've got on the bottom, I can't remember which one this is. On the bottom is Ken, mountain. Okay, so mountain is under the earth. And there's one changing line. Okay, so this is our hexagram here. Let's see what. Okay, nope, that one there. Modesty. So earth over mountain. Okay, and we're just going to go ahead and read that for you. The mountain does not overshadow the plains surrounding it. Such modest consideration in a superior person creates a channel through which excess flows to the needy. Success if you carry things through. So, okay, so we want to be very conscious of our modesty, of not. We don't want to hide our light, but we don't want to exalt ourselves above. Okay, so then we create a channel for other people to bring to us something, right? To bring to us that energy of appreciation if we receive it. So if I'm putting out to you, if I'm not modest, I'm putting out, oh, I'm so great. I'm so, I mean, look at me, look at what I'm doing. Okay. So we don't do that because that actually blocks, if I'm putting something out, that blocks the flow from coming in.
True.
So when we create this channel, this, modesty, then we create a way for people to give to us, to give to a way to show us appreciation for whatever we do naturally. Okay, does that make sense? Okay, so situation analysis. Do you want to read this part?
The cosmos is moving toward equilibrium. Extremes are being tempered. Excess is beginning to shift toward the empty. You can use these moderating influences to strike a balance in the world around you. Remember, though, that this leveling will not come about through an arrogant confiscation of excess, but through subtle or persuasions. Modesty and moderation are the keys.
Okay.
All things in moderation.
Moderation. So, yeah. So, yeah. And diminish expectations of any situation, and just be grateful for whatever gifts that we receive, whatever that is, and even Okay, so the hexagram lines, we're going to read line 1 because that's a changing line here at the bottom. Here is a changing line. There's one changing line. The superior person is modest about his modesty, and thus may cross to the far shore. Good fortune. Okay, so you're modest about your modesty. So I don't go around saying, oh, yeah, I'm so humble or whatever. I'm the humble servant or whatever. Right? Something like that. Yeah. Okay. So be modest about your modesty. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. Okay, let's go back to this. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I don't do want to go read all the whole thing. The original text, that's longer. Well, let's see what it says. Okay, this hexagram is made up of the trigrams Ken, keeping still the mountain, and Kun. Kun is earth. The mountain is the youngest of the creative, the representative of heaven and earth. It dispenses the blessings of heaven, the clouds that and rain that gather around its summit, and thereafter shines forth radiant with heavenly light. This shows what modesty is and how it functions in great and strong men. Kun, the earth, stands above. Lowliness is a quality of the earth. This is the very reason why it appears in this hexagram as exalted, by being placed above the mountain. This shows how modesty functions in lowly, simple people. They are lifted up by this. They're lifted up by your modesty. Okay. All right. It is the law of heaven to make fullness empty and to make full what is modest. So if we're modest, we create a space for our cup to be filled.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
When the sun is at its zenith, it must, according to the law of heaven, turn toward its setting, and at its nadir, it rises toward a new dawn. In obedience to the same law, the moon, when it is full, begins to wane, and when empty of light, it waxes again. This heavenly law works itself out in the fates of men also. It is the law of earth to alter the full and to contribute to the modest. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because if you're going around with your full cup, well, then people want to take from that.
Mm-hmm.
But if you go around with your empty cup,
Mm-hmm.
people want to fill that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. High mountains are worn down by the waters, and the valleys are filled up. It is the law of fate to undermine what is full and to prosper the modest. And men also hate fullness and love the modest. The destinies of men are subject to immutable laws that must fulfill themselves. But man has it in his power to shape his fate according to his behavior, according as his behavior exposes him to the influence of benevolent or of destructive forces. When a man holds high position and is nevertheless modest, he shines with the light of wisdom. If he is a lowly person and is modest, he cannot be passed by. Thus, the superior man can carry out his work to the end without boasting of what he has achieved. All right, so that's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's go back here and, look at what I got. The transformed hexagram here. So now that will transform into hexagram 36, which is eclipsing the light. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing. We're going to change that changing line, that yin line at the bottom, to a solid line, and to see what happens. So again, I have Kun at the top, because the I Ching is the book of changes, and always we're reminded that nothing ever is going to remain the same.
Mm-hmm.
Everything will always change. Okay, so eclipsing the light. Right. No, transformed hex. Okay, so what is this trigram? I can't remember. I think that's either fire or water. They're so opposite. Okay, hold on a second. Okay. Got to look at the I Ching trigram. This one. Yeah, fire. It's fire. Okay, so this is earth. This one is like this now. Okay, so earth is not changing earth, but now instead of mountain, earth is over fire. So my dear, our mountain turned into a volcano. So now this is our transformed text, eclipsing the light, earth over fire. So if we proceed with modesty here, so and do what's prescribed, this is what our situation will naturally transform to.
Mm.
That's what it's saying. Okay, so then let's look at that. Okay, where is it? Eclipsing the light. Okay, so let's just read. We won't read the original text from this one, but just give us a taste here. Do you want to read this and this?
Warmth and light are swallowed by deep darkness. A superior person shows his brilliance by keeping it veiled among the masses. Stay true to your course, despite the visible obstacles ahead.
Okay, so there will be obstacles, but sometimes we are keeping our brilliance veiled
among the masses.
Okay, so there's this idea like don't, yeah, right. Okay, so when we're here we can talk, but when we're out there here we don't, because we don't want to be interpreted as like, oh, you think you know everything, like that. That can be a dangerous place. Okay, so sometimes and I love this about the I Ching, that everything is in context, like the Chinese way. There, in this Western idea, we've got this idea: don't hide your light behind you know what I mean. You have to get out there and show them everything, promote yourself, right? But I Ching says, well, there's a time that's where that's appropriate, but there's a time when it's better to keep the light veiled. Okay, because you don't want to be perceived as somebody who's after something. Okay, right? Do you want to read the rest of that?
And then situational analysis this time calls for a saintly effort to turn the other cheek. You have been deliberately injured. Going blow for blow will only escalate this war. Abstain from vengeance. Show all watching that you are above it. Sidestep your aggressor's headlong charge, giving him the opportunity to fall on his face.
Okay, so I'm going to write this down. This is very interesting. So this is the approach of an aggressor. So there could be some kind of competitor coming out of the woodwork during this time, okay, that will challenge our ideas. Okay, but if we offer no challenge to this aggressor, okay, remain modest, then people will be able to recognize that person as the aggressor instead of us.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
So, okay, and we are asked to a saintly effort to turn the other cheek, even if we are insulted in some way. Okay, so we'll watch for this happening this spring. To turn the other cheek. Okay, very interesting. So, okay, the I Ching possibly here when something comes and it's an aggressor. Okay, so how to handle that appropriately so that it can be witnessed, that the nature of this person can be seen. That's what the told us. We want to,
right.
We want to stay clean, right?
Right.
Don't get up in arms, which is totally the opposite of our Western way of dealing with this thing. Somebody approaches you, you got to make sure that you stomp that out and make sure that you impress upon that person that, hey, you don't mess with me, right? Isn't that? But that's not what Jesus taught.
No.
That's not what Jesus taught.
No.
But see how we've evolved here. That social Darwinism thing is like survival of the fittest. So if
Mhm.
I get to survive, I got to put you in your place. When you're acting like that, you can't. That's how it works in Breaking Bad, but that's not what Jesus taught.
No.
Okay, so now we are on to our Urantia book reading. Thank you. Very interesting.
We are paper 41.
Yep. Section. Are we on paper 41?
Oh, wait. Yeah, paper 41.
Oh my
That's what
gosh,
it
I've been
was.
putting paper 40. I think I did that wrong on the thing.
Paper 41.
It's whatever. Yeah, it's paper 41. Here we're going to read this section 4 of paper 41, sun density. I'm sorry here. You know what? I'll write that here in my little thing right here. Yeah, sorry. Okay, I'm pretty sure can I go back and edit that? I probably can. Can I when I'm done?
I don't know.
Yeah, okay. Mm. Got that adjusted. The right amount of light.
Mhm.
Okay, so there you go. I'll try to maybe I'll go back and edit that. Okay, all right, let's read. We're on sun density, section 4 of paper 41. Okay, should I go?
Okay.
I'll go. The mass of your sun is slightly greater than the estimate of your physicists, who have reckoned it as about 2 octillion, 2 times 10 to the 27th, tons. It now exists about halfway between the most dense and the most diffuse stars, having about 1.5 times the density of water. But your sun is neither a liquid nor a solid. It is gaseous. And this is true, notwithstanding the difficulty of explaining how gaseous matter can attain this and even much greater densities. Okay, so how can something be a gas, but it's denser than water?
Right.
Okay, gaseous, liquid, and solid states are matters of atomic molecular relationships. But density is a relationship of space and mass. Density varies directly with the quantity of mass in space and inversely with the amount of space in mass. The space between the central cores of matter and the particles which swirl around these centers, as well as the space within such material particles. Cooling stars can be physically gaseous and tremendously dense at the same time. You are not familiar with the solar supergases. But these and other unusual forms of matter explain how even non-solid suns can attain a density equal to iron, about the same as Urantia, and yet be in a highly heated gaseous state and continue to function as suns. Even though it's denser than iron, it's still a gas.
Must be the pressure coming from the
But
gravity.
then the heat, so these things are so active,
Mhm.
they're flying around each other, but there's no room to fly around each other, right?
Mhm.
Okay. The atoms in these dense supergases are exceptionally small. They contain few electrons. Such suns have also largely lost their free ultimatonic stores of energy. And what is that? what is an ultimatonic store of energy? There's something called an ultimaton, which is an ultimaton. It's like the smallest particle. It's kind of
Really?
like small. It's like a cork or something. Kind of, who knows what the heck it is, what they're talking about, what they
Sounds
call
like a Wordle.
it. Okay, I'm going to read one more paragraph, then you go, okay?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Okay, one of your nearby suns, which started life with about the same mass as yours, has now contracted almost to the size of Urantia,
Wow.
having become 40,000 times as dense as your
Mm.
sun. The weight of this hot, cold, gaseous solid is about 1 ton per
Mm.
cubic inch. And still this sun shines with a faint reddish glow, the senile glimmer of a dying monarch of light.
Mm.
That's such, such words, such prose.
Mm-hmm.
This is the senile glimmer of a dying monarch of light. Isn't that?
A nearby
Oh,
sun.
Faulkner would approve. Don't
Mm-hmm.
you think?
Yep. Most of the suns, however, are not so dense. One of your nearer neighbors has a density exactly equal to that of your atmosphere at sea level. If you were in the interior of the sun, you would be unable to discern anything. And temperature permitting, you could penetrate the majority of the suns which twinkle in the night sky and notice no more matter than you perceive in the air of your earthly living rooms.
Wow.
Wow. The massive sun of Valentia, one of the largest in Orvanton, has a density only 1/1000th that of Urantia's atmosphere. Were it in composition similar to your atmosphere and not superheated, it would be such a vacuum that human beings would speedily suffocate if they were in or on it. Wow.
So what is that thing?
And yet it's the sun that produces light. Another of the Orvanton giants now has a surface temperature a trifle under 3,000 degrees. Its diameter is over 300 of
300 million. Wow.
ample room to accommodate your sun in the present orbit of the Earth. And yet, for all this enormous size, over 40 million times that of your sun, its mass is only about 30 times greater. These enormous suns have an extending fringe that reaches almost from one to the other. Hmm.
So this
Wow.
is a huge sun. Its
Mm-hmm.
mass is only 30 times greater. So
So it's
they,
all about density then.
yeah. Well, it's just the nature of these things is variable. They can be like
Mm-hmm.
so dense, or they can be like, because if they're dying, they get dense in the middle,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And they shine only faintly,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Right.
But then some of them, if they're really big and they shine with a bright white light, yeah. So
So as our sun ages, does it become like that? Does it expands, but it becomes dense in the middle, right?
yeah, I think so. I think it's still in an expansive phase, but then it starts to contract in the
Mm-hmm.
middle, and then it'll gradually start to fall in on itself, kind
Mm-hmm.
of, and become like a dwarf.
Like a black hole.
Not everything becomes a black hole. Only like the biggest ones
Mm.
become like that. Then they fall into themselves so completely that they
Mm-hmm.
even trap light.
Mm-hmm.
But I think ours is kind of an average star, right?
Mm-hmm. I think
So
so.
I think it'll kind of like go through a normal lifespan, then we'll probably contract and be like a dwarf.
So it'll expand until it extends out to the orbits of at least Earth.
Yeah, that's the idea. I'm not sure, and it doesn't talk about that. I know that's what we learned in science. That it's gonna like expand out, but that's all scientific, or they project these things, and scientists don't want to admit that there's things they don't know. But I mean, we don't know all of that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Right.
we don't know all of that.
Mm-hmm.
But usually these things, they'll swell, up to a point where and then things start falling into the center.
Mhm.
And for a while, like the yeah, I think it's kind of like they fall into the center that, but the outside doesn't know that's happening. So the natural tendency of it is to expand, but then it's held together by that gravity of the middle,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
Because but there, when there's so much energy in those particles, they expand a lot. But then here, the middle starts to fall in on itself here when it gets cooler, and then the outer layers gradually start to do that too. So those are like two processes that are kind of like the expansion process and the gravity process that are kind of in dancing with each other, because there's the one drive to expand, and then there's the other one that's cooling. And when they hit a balance point, okay, then it's when that's when they it stops expanding and it will start. Anyway, but the life of stars,
Mhm.
and this is a I don't know which massive sun of Valencia is.
Hmm.
What is that? Are they giving it something? Like, are we gonna call it that? What is that?
One of the largest in Urantia.
So what is that? Like some kind of star, like Sirius or like
I don't know.
what is that? Betelgeuse or
I don't know.
what is that? Rigel?
The massive sun of Urantia. What is Urantia?
Valencia is some kind of sun they made up, and they I don't know. I don't want to say they made up a name for it because I don't know. The names that we make aren't all names kind of made up. I mean, my parents made up my name, right?
Mhm.
I know. Um, what am I going to say? Okay, bright, most massive star. What is the largest in Urantia? Okay, what are the largest stars? Okay, Canis Majoris. Okay, so there's Scorpii. Okay, what are these things? What is this? See, and what are they doing here? What does that mean? Solar radii. Yeah.
Hmm. So there are suns both larger and smaller than our sun. Our stars both larger and smaller than our star, based on both density and radius.
Yeah. Canis Major. So that'd be Sirius. Theoretical limit of star size. KY sign. What is this? Cassio. Okay, this is like the constellations here: Centauri, Carinae, Sagittarius. Those are. That's not what I. What is this? I don't know. I wish I was an astrophysicist sometimes, but not really. Betelgeuse.
Mm-hmm.
Betelgeuse is big. I know. Betelgeuse is really big. Maybe they're talking about Betelgeuse. But they would have said Betelgeuse because didn't scientists know about Betelgeuse then? When was Betelgeuse discovered?
I don't know.
Yeah, when did they find Betelgeuse?
I don't know.
Betelgeuse. Remember that stupid one?
Mm-hmm.
When was Betelgeuse discovered? 1830s. So they knew about Betelgeuse. So they would not. That's not Betelgeuse. Otherwise, they would have called it Betelgeuse.
Mm-hmm. Although
Don't you
Urantia
think?
seems to have its own names for the things.
Okay, it could be Betelgeuse, but that's true because they call Earth Urantia. They
Mm-hmm.
call
Mm-hmm. Right.
they call Mars Barsoom. No, that's something else.
That's something else. That's the Gray Sparrows.
Yeah, that's Edgar Rice Burroughs. Okay, well, fascinating stuff here. So I don't know. I guess I would hope they would say if they mean Beetlejuice, they would just say Beetlejuice. So I don't think it's Beetlejuice. Probably it's like Sirius or something. or no, when is Sirius discovered? Well, those are all the biggest stars. They know those. I don't know, but this is in Orvonton. This isn't just in Nebadon. So Valentia is one of the largest stars in Orvonton.
Mhm.
But I don't know. I mean, that's like a challenge for these scientists here. But scientists don't like to look at this kind of stuff. They don't like spiritual stuff. I don't know. I think they'll be like, I don't know. They're I don't know, and it's in context too, and they have to put it in the words that we know about in knew about in 1920 when this was put together in the 20s.
Mhm.
It's just hard saying.
But that's the
Anyway,
entry on sun density.
yeah, okay. I think this was long, so I know we want to go out now. So, right? Do you want to say anything
Mhm.
else?
Happy April Fool's Day.
Yeah.
Don't get fooled.
Don't get fooled. Yeah, we could say goodbye to the non-existent people watching us. One time, me and Amy had a person watching us. That was great. Yeah. Anyway, okay. Love you guys. Thanks for. Yeah. Maybe you'll see this sometime. Okay.
Great day.
Have a great day.